Good morning. The first thing you're going to figure out about me is my southern accent. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. We got any Nashville fans in here? Right, good. All right, we're going to cover some big things today about how you think like a coach. Because I've spent the last 25 years basically taking people from lower level resources to higher levels of productivity, how to take a team that I may or may not have picked and turn them into a championship culture, and how to be a coach that other people love to play for. How many of you have ever had a great coach at some point in your life? Okay, now I want you to think about that great coach. And I want to ask you a question. If during that period of time that you had that great coach, was it a period of your life where you experienced the most growth you've ever had in your life? Was it a period of your life where that great coach would do three things for you? They would have conversations for you that you may or may not want to have. Y'all remember those conversations? And I like to joke with people and say, if a person's telling you you got potential at 42, it's not a compliment, right? It's a compliment at 14, but it's not a compliment at 42. But a good coach will have conversations with you that you may or may not want to have. They'll make you do some things you may or may not want to do, but they'll help you become something you did not think you could become. So I want to boil this down to three categories today that we're going to focus on. Number one, how do you recruit and attract better talent? Everybody in the room would say that's a pretty big thing, right? How do you recruit and attract better talent? I.e., how do you become so attractive that people want to work with you? And I'm going to talk about some things that I did early on, because early on through my coaching career, I'm motivated through fear. And fear is a short-term fix to a long-term problem. Okay? And so when I made a shift about 25 years old, I started seeing my players as the geese that were laying the golden eggs. I started to become a better coach. We started to win championships. But until then, there was always resistance between me and my players. And right now I'm coaching a lot of the top brokers in the country, and sometimes I see a resistance between the coach and the players. And as long as there's that resistance between you and the players, they'll never work as hard as they could for you, because you can buy a man's hand, but you can't buy his heart. Okay, and they got their whole person. So we're going to show you how to recruit and attract better players. We're going to show you how to coach and develop those players. 11 years ago, when I retired from athletic coaching, I started coaching business people. I started coaching some of the biggest home builders in the country. I started coaching some of the biggest real estate agents in the country, some of the biggest mortgage originators in the country. And the very first thing I noticed as a former coach was that the training was random and sporadic. So we'd teach somebody how to do this, then we'd teach them how to do this, then we'd teach them how to do this, then we'd teach them how to do this. It was not part of a system. I'm going to show you how to coach your agents through a very systematic way that has a starting point, then it naturally progresses. Then it goes to here, then it goes to here. So you're not just throwing a bunch of things at agents hoping that they'll figure it out, right? So once you get great people on the bus, somebody's got to coach those people. Wouldn't you agree? And how we coach and develop that talent is very critical to those people being able to produce. I've seen real estate agents that are doing 35 deals a year with proper coaching in a 4-year cycle be doing 120 deals a year, if they have a great coach and a great system, a great strategy. And the third thing I'm going to show you is how to retain and insulate yourself from leaving. And contrary to what most people believe, it's not about money. When you really understand the whole person theory, body, mind, heart, and spirit, how do you tap into a whole person's nature, you will find out that many people stay in places where they feel valued, they feel appreciated, they feel engaged, they feel on fire. It's not always about who's making how much money, it's how big the splits are. Because I've got brokers right now that I'm coaching that have 9 agents that are doing $100 million of production. And then I see some brokers that we're coaching that have 100 agents not doing $100 million of production. And I say, what's the difference between this team with 9 people doing $100 million and this team with this many people not doing that? I look at the relationship between the coach and the player, between the broker and owner and the people. Correct? So today I want to get you to think like a good coach thinks. And that's really what we're going to focus on. So we're going to spend 2 hours. When I'm finished with you, you're going to be a great coach. Fair enough? Seems reasonable to do it in 2 hours, right? Yeah, absolutely. Good. Now, here's what I want to show you. I was out there coaching real estate agents, and right now I'm out on tour with RE/MAX doing 35 national events over the next 2 years. I've had a great time working with the agents. But one of the things I quickly figured out over the past few years was that the brokers and the owners needed coaching too. And let me tell you why. Even the motivator needs motivating. How many nights have you went home brokenhearted? How many nights have you went home exhausted? How many nights have you went home and said, what in the world am I doing? How many nights have you poured into people only for them not to pour it back into you? Right? And as a high school women's basketball coach, I can't tell you how many nights I went home like that. Basically raising other people's kids, spending 80 hours a week, helping their kids get to a higher level. Never hear thank you, never hear appreciation, never hear anything. All we ever heard was what? Complaining and negative. And I would go home at night, so many nights, just brokenhearted. Why am I pouring this much time and energy into other people? They don't appreciate it. And then somebody would come along in my life, or I'd get a note from a person, or I'd get something from a person that said this changed their life, this helped them get to a much higher frequency. And then I remembered why I was doing it. Sometimes we have to go through a lot of people to find the good people we're looking for. We have to attract the right people. So I put together this program specifically for brokers. How do you recruit and attract? How do you coach and develop? And how do you retain top agents? Now, my journey started in a small town of Tennessee many, many years ago. And I'm going to show you a little bit of this story because I want you thinking about your coaching muscle. I want you thinking about your mentoring muscle, okay? Where did your journey start? What have you learned from each coach that you had? So my journey started in a small town called Woodbury, Tennessee. Most people probably don't know where that is. A little town of 2,500 people. I still remember the most exciting thing we did when I was 15 was the whole town got together to watch them build a Hardee's. It was a real exciting time. We didn't have a McDonald's, we didn't have a Sonic, we didn't have anything, right? We certainly didn't have a Hershey Kisses bar place, so we didn't have any of these things, but I learned something. So I asked my mom one day, I said, send me a picture of the first house we lived in. She said, we lived in that house right there. Sometimes what we're measuring, why we're so frustrated, is because we're somewhere and we think we should be somewhere else. We're measuring the gap between where we are versus where we think we should be. You know what we should be measuring? Where we used to be versus where we are today. How many of you stay frustrated a lot with the people around you? Yeah. You know why? Because we're constantly measuring versus perfection. This is where I am, this is where I think I should be. Not this is where I used to be, and this is where I am today. Now imagine if I worked with you, and I constantly, no matter what I did, it was never good enough for you. You never measure my progress. We have a sales guy here with me today that when I hired him, he was scared to make a phone call. During our call periods, which are 9 to 11 in the mornings, we couldn't find him. We just couldn't find him. And this year, that salesperson is going to make over $100,000 in his first year with me. And for the first 3 months, he was literally scared to take a credit card and scared to make a phone call. But every day, I kept focused on progress. Every day, get a little bit better. Every day, I'm going to show you how to make an outbound call. I'm going to show you how to overcome objection. I'm going to show you how to go 7 touches in the follow-up. I'm going to show you how to believe in yourself. I'm going to show you how to sell with some conviction. I'm going to show you to believe in you. The first sale you got to make every day is to your own self. How many of you have agents right now that they don't have confidence? That's the one thing they're lacking. Confidence always follows repetition, always follows skill. Confidence is the memory of success. But if you hadn't had any success, how can you have any confidence? Does that make sense? So we have call periods in my office. We make 40 calls in the morning, 40 in the afternoon. Okay, 80 calls a day. We track how many people we talk to. We track how many people actually answer the phone, which is very few in today's world. And we talk how many people did we push something to something in the future. And I tell my sales team it's not because I'm trying to big brother you, because that's the last thing I want to do. I want to show you that for every 30 people you talk to, there's only 4.8 that are going to be interested. So you got to go through 30 people to find the good ones, right? You got to go through 40 duds to find 4 studs. That's what I tell them. Okay? But here's the deal. If you don't make the 80 phone calls, if you make 4 phone calls, then what's the probability of selling something? Everybody see what I'm saying here? But I had to sell them on this. So like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. This is repetition. This is confidence. This is learning how to work that muscle. This is getting better. Okay, go back to your sports days. Did you practice just one day? How many days did you practice when you're playing sports? Did you practice the same things? Absolutely. The same things over and over. Success ain't sexy. It's boring sometimes, isn't it? But the good people get up and kick people's butts, and they go to bed, and they get up and do it again the next day. So I went all the way back to my days as a little basketball player, right? Because I was a little point guard, and I was constantly thinking, how do I coach this team to a much higher level? How do I get my teammates to a much better place? How do I keep this frequency going? So what I started learning at a very early age is how to be a coach. I still remember the young coaches in my life saying, son, one of these days you're going to be a great coach. Okay, here's a big tip. If you could help your agents find one special talent that they have and show them how to make money with that talent, how valuable would you be to them in their life? No, like when I'm coaching a person and I go, man, you are really good one-to-one with people. You have a great ability to synthesize problems and break it down. If I could show you how to use that in the real estate world, there's no telling how much money you can make. There's less than 5 people in your life that will ever help you find your talent. There's less than 5 people who ever spend enough time and energy with you to ever help you find what it is you're supposed to be doing. When I ask real estate agents what their unique abilities are, they can't tell me. Are you a great negotiator? Do you have deep networks? Can you communicate with anybody on planet Earth? Are you good for all time zones? What is your unique ability, right? Well, very early in life, I kept hearing, you're going to be a great coach. You're going to be a great coach. You're going to be a great coach. That's what my coaches told me. So I started coaching. This is me coaching my very first team when I first started at 15 years old. I was coaching 9 to 12-year-olds. And I knew at that day, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. That's me and my mom at 15 when I was out there on the speaking circuit. So I kept on coaching and kept on coaching until one day I get a phone call. Now, let me give you some stats about real estate that I want you to remember. 67% of people use the very first real estate agent that contacts them. They don't use the best one. They don't use the most experienced one. They don't use the best looking one. Which one do they use? The first one. But one of the number one complaints we hear about real estate agents is that we can't get them what? On the phone. Now, we call on real estate agents to sell them our coaching services, and guess what? My sales team will say, I call 35 agents a day and not one of them answered the phone. So I said, say this on the voicemail. We're looking at a $2 million deal. We got a short time period. We're going to close in less than 30 days. See if they call you back. You know that 9 out of 10 still didn't call back. What? True story. I've called real estate agents with the same deal. 67% of people use the very first person that contacts them. The average person is going to buy 4 to 6 homes in their lifetime. How many of you have already purchased 4 homes? I have, and I'm 42 years old. Every transaction, based on the National Association of Real Estate Agents, should see every transaction should be worth 5.7 referrals over the lifetime of the consumer. Okay? So every transaction should be worth how many commissions? That's right, almost 6 commissions, but here's the sad part. Less than 98% of agents never call a client back once they put them in a home. Everybody see these stats? Now the reason I use stats, I do believe that 83% of all stats are made up. But the reason I use stats is because I'm a coach. And guess what coaches do? They play percentages. So if you told me this is what we got to do to win, here's another stat. It takes 7 to 15 touches, 80% of the time to convert a prospect to a buyer. How many touches do you think most agents go? 1 or 2. See what we're doing here? So what I do is I'm finding missing structures. So imagine you telling your agents, here's what I'm going to help you do. We're going to get back to leads fast. Because 67% of people use the very first person that contacts them. Right? We're going to go 7 to 15 touches in the follow-up once a person is interested. Because 80% of the time that's what it takes. We're going to put a plan in place that once we put a person in a house, we're going to have a great follow-up system because every transaction should be worth 6 referrals. Now, how much more money could be made if we just solved those problems? Now, I want you to think about that. If you just sold your agents on some of those things, getting better at the follow-up after the sale. So at 18 or 19 years old, I start coaching my little elementary school team right here, and we won a state championship with that team, and the principal of the school came to me at the end of the year, and he said, you did such a great job coaching this year, we think we would like to pay you. And I said, how much are you going to pay me? He said, $199.50 for the year. But here's the deal. Every day at your current job is an interview for what? Next job. Your next job. Every day with your current client is an interview for your, could be worth 6 clients, right? So I'm coaching that team like I'm in the NBA. At 19 years old, I get a phone call from the 2nd largest high school in Tennessee. And here's what he said. Hey, we've heard about you. Is that a referral? Yes or no? We heard you're some young little whippersnapper that can flat out coach. Will you come down here and be one of my assistant coaches? And I asked what any good 19-year-old would ask, which is what? I'm like, well, how much are you going to pay me? After all, I'm already making $199.50. I mean, you may not even be able to afford me. And he said, we're going to pay you $2,000. And I said, $2,000? Man, I will be there tonight, right? Because that's a 10 times increase. But guess what I'm learning? I'm learning how to coach. I'm learning how to think. I want you to remember this. Do you correlate the correlation between broker, owner, and coach? Yes or no? Do you see the better the coach, the better the team? Everybody see that? The better the coach, the better the team. Teams are a reflection of their coach. If the coach is soft, the team is soft. We're in college football season right now. Every team takes on the personality of their coach. Okay? So when you're thinking about this, get your mindset in that. So now I'm coaching this team, but here's what I started doing. Something different than everybody else was doing. Now when I'm looking at different real estate companies, and I'm sitting there asking this question, what is this group doing different than this group? What is this group doing different? If I was out there in the market and I was a real estate agent, or I wanted to be a real estate agent, and you were recruiting me, one of the things I'm constantly looking at is what is the huge differential advantage? Like if I come work with you, do I trust that you are the person to get me to a much higher frequency? Not trust as in are you going to hurt me? Trust is in competency. I look at you as the person to take my career and life to another level. And that's why I'm coming to you. So here's what we started doing with the kids. We started teaching every player that played for me the 7 habits of highly effective people. We started teaching them the principles of good to great, the 5 dysfunctions of teams, the 7 disciplines, the 5 disciplines of a learning organization. We started teaching everything that other people weren't teaching. So imagine your daughter playing for me and she's learning those 7 habits at 14. And she has to sit up in the front 1/3 of her seat. And she has to make eye contact with the instructor. So what we started building was trained little machines. And we started winning so much, people were like, what are you doing? So what we started doing is showing all of this. See, we started focusing on life. We started focusing on them as people. And then people started asking me, what are you doing with all these kids? Because you're winning so many games and you're winning championships. And I said, I don't have time to talk about it, so I'll just write it in books. You can read about it. And when I started writing these books, guess who started to call? Now here's the correlation. Mom and dad drops their daughter off to me at 14 years old and they say the same thing. Coach, my daughter's got a lot of potential. Somebody said problems. That's good. Yep. Issues. Okay, and I have a 6-year-old daughter. I understand. And they would say, my daughter's got a lot of potential. She just needs something. What do you think they said she needed? Confidence. Focus. Discipline. Accountability. Structure. Now, I start writing these books. I have no intention of coaching adults whatsoever. No intention of coaching real estate agents whatsoever. I wanted to coach my team, win championships, be completely happy. But when I started writing these books, companies began to call me, and here was the conversation. Coach, we've got a lot of real estate agents, and they got a lot of no issues. Y'all got to pay attention here. Can't get them to show up to work. Can't get them to call out. Can't get them to go 7 touches. Can't get them to follow up after the sale. Can you come over and talk to our agents, Coach? Sure. So I said, I'll come over for just a few minutes and talk to your agents. So I went over and talked to the agents, and I figured out this. They did have potential, but they needed what? Structure, accountability, focus, discipline. What they needed was a good coach. Okay? And I'm specifically thinking of a person that I'm coaching right now, 35, that 5 years ago was one of the biggest goof-offs you've ever seen. This was a guy that show up on the weekends, eat 2 pizzas, 3 pizzas, drink 3 cases of beer, had no seriousness about his life whatsoever. He was doing 30 to 35 transactions per year. And I started to coach him, and he started to get serious about his life and serious about his career. This year he's going to do 120 to 125 transactions. And I watched the power of a coach in this guy's life. He had all the raw material. He just lacked direction and guidance and confidence. Once we went to work on that, that's the power of having somebody in your life who will push and challenge you. So we started to win championships at my place, and it was all good because it's cool winning championships. There's me in my first championship. And then here's the best part. We just kept winning. And then we kept winning, and then we kept winning. Now, somewhere along the way, I met that beautiful woman, and we got married, and we had that beautiful thing right there. And she is every bit as sassy as she looks, right? Okay? That's me and her. Now I fly around on an airplane like this right here, speaking to people just like you, and I ride around on a bus just like this, helping people, and I speak on big stages like this one. This was me at 10X in Las Vegas in February with 10,000 people. And over the last 10 years, these are the people who have hired me to help them get to a higher frequency. Except right now, I'm working with this group right here to help you get to a higher frequency, right? Is that the best group? Good. Now, first thing I want to ask you is this. I want you to notice the bold statement that I put up there. Because the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on your bold statement. Picture me living in your market. And I'm out there in the world, and you have identified me as a potential prospect for you. There are 2 parts to this equation. You're going to recruit me and then try to attract me. Are those 2 different things, yes or no? Yes. Okay? You're going to recruit me, which is a verb. It's an action. You're going to come after me. Okay, I worked with State Farm for many years, and I work with their top recruiters, and what they do is they go into every market, and they start asking questions. Who's the up-and-coming people? Who's the sharpest people? Who do you think has a lot more potential than what they're doing? Who's in a job that they don't like? Does that make sense? They target those people. Then they sit down and they go after those people. And they go to those people and they schedule a meeting, and then they sit down and they start the attraction part of this. And I know this because they recruited me to be an agent. And they sat down and they said, now, Coach Burt, did you know how much money you can make if you came here? Did you know if you did this? Let me show you all the resources. Let me show you the wall of fame. Then they had their top people call me. Now they were trying to do what? Attract me to them. So I want you to think of this as two ways. There's a recruiting part and there's an attracting part. Okay? There's a recruiting part and there's an attracting part. There's not a broker in the world that I've ever come across that didn't say this to me. I need to be way more active with my recruiting. I need to be way more active with my recruiting. Now, the numbers tell me that for every 30 people you talk to, 4.8 will initially be interested. There will be another 10 that will have to hear it 3 to 7 times. There will be another 10 that have to hear it 7 to 15 times. And then there will be 16% that it doesn't matter if you move in with them, they ain't never going to hear it. Everybody with me? So just like I would teach a real estate agent that you got to talk to 30 people to get 4.8 interested, when it comes to recruiting, I would tell you the exact same thing. Look at how many people you have to talk to find the best people. Everybody with me? So I want to start off right now by this. Let's say I was sitting across from you, and I moved to your market. And I said, I want to try this real estate thing. I think I could be okay at it. And I sit down with you, what would be your bold statement to me to say, when you come and work with me and my company, here is what's going to happen. So see, look at my bold statement. When you work with me, my goal is one thing, to get you a minimum of a 43% increase in 1 year. Then I'm going to stack that by showing you all the people I've done that for. I'm going to say I did it with this guy and this girl and this guy and this girl. And let me show you what their testimonial. Now, when you come with me, here's what's going to happen. In your first year, you're going to make $100,000 bucks. And let me show you exactly how I'm going to get you there. You're going to get daily coaching. Now, notice what I'm using. I'm going to give you, here's all the things I'm going to give you when you join my team. You're going to get daily coaching every day from me at 8:30 in the morning. I'm going to give you a great explanation of services. I'm going to give you a selling system so you don't have to worry about generating leads. I'm going to show you how to generate leads. I'm going to give you a great 7-touch follow-up. And I'm going to help you develop a world-class follow-up after the sale. Okay, you're going to get 25 years of my coaching experience right to you every single day. I'm going to wake up at night trying to figure out how to help you be successful. When you come and join my team, that's all the things you're going to get. Now, what is it that if you were sitting across from a recruit today that you would say is a bold statement that they go, whoa, now this is strong. This is what I'm looking for right here. I had a guy yesterday call me with this question. I'm looking at 2 different real estate companies. One is a 100% model. One is not a 100% model. Which one do you think I should go to? This guy's 54 years old, just starting real estate. I could tell he had a lot of fire. What do you think I told him? I said it depends on what's important to you. Do you want mentorship, guidance? Do you want culture? Do you want a dynamic leader? Do you want to go to the office with other like-minded people every day? Or do you want a free agent nation? Everybody understand what I'm saying? Y'all know what a free agent nation is, don't you? No. Free agent nation is basically where people just hang their hats at a real estate company. There's no culture. There's no nothing. There's no teamwork. There's no camaraderie. There's no leadership. You just say you work here, but guess what? You just work here, right? Now, you got to decide as a leader what you want to build. Do you want to build a team, an environment, a culture, a championship culture? Or do you just want to let people do whatever they want to? Because I have a theory. I'm only looking for people that are looking for me. Everybody understand what I'm saying? And typically I know within 15 seconds if I have a true prospect or not. People do business with other people that believe the same things they do. So when I'm recruiting people, I lay out exactly what I believe. I believe in coming in early and staying late. If you believe in showing up late and leaving early, we ain't going to get along together. I believe in going the distance in the sales cycle. I believe in 40 to 80 phone calls a day. I believe in 7 touches in the follow-up. I believe in service after the sale. Now, do you and I believe the same things? Those people are going to look at me and go, yes, I'm in, or what? I'm out. How fast do you think I know that? First meeting. I'm looking for a tough-minded person who wants to get in there and get after it. But I'm also looking for a good teammate. Looking for a person who shows up and helps other people, right? I'm looking for a culture person. So I want to take a second right now and let you talk to the person beside you and say, Here's my bold statement that I'm giving people. And you may find out that it's not bold enough. It may be that your initial pitch here is you don't have something that's strong enough to attract a person who goes, I'm in. I'm in. Because when you see it, you're like, that's it right there. I've been looking for somebody like you. Okay? Take a second right now and tell them what your statement is. Over the last couple of years, I've coached coaches in the SEC in how to recruit players. Break down the whole recruiting cycle. And I've watched the best recruit, like the best of the best recruit, and take notes. And all of the best have an incredible hook, an incredible line. There was a private school that I saw at one point, private Christian school, and they said, here was the final statement they would say to parents. When your son leaves us in 4 years, he'll have a degree in his hand. He'll have a leather jacket on his back. He'll have a championship ring on his finger. And he'll have a personal walk with Jesus Christ. Now, you talking about mamas and daddies going, we're in. Look how they summed up what they were going to get. See how strong that was? When your son leaves us in 4 years, here's what's going to happen. And I would watch those mom and dads go, gosh, this is about so much more than just winning a couple football games. It's about the whole experience. Okay, now I want you thinking about this. When I would talk to moms and dads about coming to my school, I could not recruit. I was at a public school. But nobody said I couldn't attract. So when I would sit, I could not talk to the parents unless the parents came and talked to me. And here's what I would say. When your daughter plays for me, 100% of my players go to college that play for me for 4 years. Not 80%, not 90%, 100% of the people that play for me have gone to college. Number 2, we're going to teach your daughter this, and this. Number 3, we're going to go on a great trip every Christmas. We're going to go somewhere amazing for your daughter to get the experience if she's never been on an airplane before. We had the nicest locker rooms. We had the best coaches. We had the nicest uniforms. And what those parents would say is, this is so much different than the other schools we're looking at. It became so obvious to them, this is where we want our daughter to go to school. Everybody see that? You want to make your brokerage so strong, your age so strong that when people walk out of there, they go, this is amazing. This is so much better than the other people I've talked to. And it really starts with your personal philosophy of what you're trying to build. You're trying to build something special. Okay? So the impact statement is going to come in handy in a second because there is actually a 6-step framework I teach brokers in how to explain their services. And it all starts with what they believe. So if I tell you I believe in long obedience in the same direction, I believe in mastery versus cotton candy, I believe in doing the work to become a pro, right? If you're scared off by work, you don't want any piece of that. So what you're like, I'm out, man. I'm out. But I also believe in being intense but positive. I don't beat people up. I don't cuss people out. I don't tell people they're sorry. What I do is I believe in being real intense and pushing people, but doing it in a way that they like it. Doing it in a way they go, that's right, that's what I've been looking for. Most adults, can we all agree that most adults don't have a coach in their life right now? Which is why they flounder around. They've got no structure. They've got no process. They're just out there in the world trying to figure it out. They need a coach just like the kids need coaches, okay? So look at the purpose. The purpose of any business is to create a customer, which is why I'm adamant that agents should be prospecting a minimum of 2 hours a day with nothing but outbound activity. Every agent I coach right now, we're coaching about 600. Every agent I coach right now, I just pound it in their brain that for 2 hours a day, we're doing nothing but outbound prospecting. During that 2 hours, we cannot deal with anything that occurred in the past. That means if you wrote a contract last week and there's an issue that comes up during your prospecting time, you don't deal with it. That is a sacred time. And I have to sell them on it. But here's what happens. I say, you give me 90 days. You prospect for me for 90 days for 2 hours a day. You can do 9 to 11. You can do 1 to 3. You can do 3 to 5. I don't care. I'm going to show you exactly what to say with an explanation of service. I'm going to show you exactly how to follow up. You give me 90 days, and you tell me that your activity's not up, your leads are not up, your sales are not up. And there's not one agent that commits to me to doing that says 90 days later, you're exactly right. Everything in my business is up. But I got to sell them on it. I got to sell them on it, right? I was speaking in Fort Lauderdale not long ago, and it was raining that day. And the broker came to me and says, Coach, I'm so sorry. It's raining, and when it rains, a lot of the agents don't show up. I said, no, hold on, let me see if I got this right. You're telling me that your kind of office culture is when it rains, they don't work. Is that what you're telling me? Then I was like, now tell me again why I'm committed to coming and doing this for you. Because, listen, that goes against everything I stand for. I'm trying to get you not to listen to your feelings. Because your feelings are going to wake up and tell you, I don't feel like prospecting. I don't feel like following up. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. I'm trying to coach you not to listen to your feelings. Everybody with me? Okay, I'm doing some stuff now with Dr. Kevin Elko. I don't know if you're familiar with Elko. Elko is the team psychologist for Saban in Alabama. He's been a team psychologist, I think, for the Steelers. He's team psychologist right now for the Eagles. And here's what when he and I are going to do stuff together, and here's what he would tell you. The number one thing he teaches those players is self-talk. How to talk to their self when things are not going well. How when they wake up and don't feel like doing it, how do they still doing it? Everybody with me? This is something we got to teach agents. I know you don't feel like prospecting today for 2 hours, but baby, we got to do it because I can't get you that increase if you won't commit. And here's one line I use a lot. I can't help you until you commit, but once you commit, I'm not going to let you fail. Okay, I'm going to be right there with you. So look at your business. If the purpose of a business is to create a customer, the purpose of the broker is to do what? Those three things. Recruit and attract, coach and develop, retain. How many people think the recruiting and attracting is the place they're the weakest in right now? Okay? Listen, I would tell you from being a coach for many years, the better the players, the better the coach. I don't care how good you are. We have got to be in the business. I was just at a camp in Idaho yesterday with one of my buddies. He's running a $50 million company. He's got headhunters out right now. He said, here's my strategy. Go steal the top 5 people away from every one of my competitors. Because here's what he told me. This is one of the best recruiting lines ever. He said, the people that you're looking for your team ain't looking for you. The people that you're looking for are already happy, satisfied, completely winning. The people that are looking for you, you don't need to be looking for them. You see what he's saying? The ones who are desperate, looking for somebody to latch onto, he's like, man, I have figured this out. I can't just go out there and find these talent. I got to go take them from other people. That's his strategy. So he hired a headhunter, and he's going out there and taking the 5 best people from his competitors. Okay? Because of that statement. They're not looking for you. The best people ain't looking for you. You're looking for them. Okay? So you got to give them a reason to do what? To leave. Now, when you're thinking about this, I want you to think of this recruiting and attracting as actions. So if I were coaching you, I would tell you that you should have a dedicated time, how much for recruiting? Every day. Just like I would tell an agent that you need to be prospecting, you need to have a dedicated time every day on your schedule for doing that. And if you don't like doing it, which I understand some people don't, then you need to hire somebody who does. Right? Because the RE/MAX group I'm working with in Houston, Texas, I'm working with 2 of the top teams in Houston. And I go in and coach them every month. And one of the owners is like, man, I don't want to recruit. I want to do this, this, and this. So we hired a great recruiter. And the guy's out there doing a great job recruiting. And he's taking X number of meetings per day. I don't think they're enough. I don't think the volume's enough. But he's taking 2 meetings a day, 2 recruiting meetings a day. 1 at 1, 1 at 3 every day. And so when you're looking at it, I want you thinking about recruiting. Now look at that attraction piece, because I'm going to come back and ask you a question. We're recruiting. We're trying to persuade a person to assist or do something. We're recruiting. We're actively out there working. Attracting is we're causing someone to come to a place or participate in a venture. We're attracting. So here would be my question. How attractive is your place right now? Because we teach a concept called the torch, and the torch is where you go in and you say, this has got to go. Some of those things are mental. Some of those are physical. Some of those, you understand what I'm saying? Some of those are people. But the torch is something I make all my business owners go through once a year. It's like, look, this ain't working. It's got to go. How attractive is it to come work at your place today? Now, could that be physical appearance? Yes or no? Yeah. Absolutely. There was a RE/MAX office in my hometown close to the gym that I work out at in the mornings, and it just needed love. It just, every day I left the gym, I'm thinking, man, it's just not attractive. Like the building's not attractive. The office doesn't look attractive. And I'm thinking, how much does that hurt? Just the very first thing, right? When you think about perception, here's a stat I've never forgotten. It takes 21 positive interactions to overcome the first negative interaction. If you make a bad first impression, it takes 21 positive interactions to overcome the first negative one. Here's what I would tell you. You ain't going to get 21 tries. right? People are making an assessment fast about everything. So when you're thinking about your culture, your physical space, your mental concepts, you may say, you know what, this has helped me open up my mind to what coaching really is. I either need to have a coach or I need to have my people coach, because I'm guessing everybody in the room believes trained people outperform untrained people. Yes or no? Yes. Who's coaching your people matters. The better the coach, the better the team. So I want you to take a minute right now and I want you to tell the person at your table, if there's one thing you're going to torch when you go back, one thing you're going to torch, you say, look, it's got to go. A few years ago, I went through this and we changed office furniture. We cleaned the carpets. We did a lot of things. It was amazing what that did. Just that one thing, just going through and torching things. My buddy went through this and he asked his employees, what's one thing we can get rid of? And they said, the chairs stink. The chairs we work in stink. He said, you know what? We're getting new chairs. New chairs, new office, new lights, new, right? Just it's attractive. So remember what we're saying. We're building something that's attractive. If it's not attractive, nobody's going to want to work there. You're not going to attract the best people if they walk through there and it's like, man, is this it? This is what I'm coming to? This? So you got to think. Dynamic leadership, dynamic environment, dynamic culture, dynamic people. Do you agree that like gravitate toward like? Yes or no? Yes. Big-time players don't want to play with small-time players. They don't want to interact with them. They don't want to mingle with them. They don't want to associate with them. Okay? So if you want to attract big-time people, you got to get some big-time people. And they say, this is where we need to be, okay? All right, so let's take a second right now. Let me ask you one more question before we do that. How many of you believe that the energy is in the office? Yeah, one of the biggest sales if I own a real estate company would be this. All of the energy, the support, the accountability, the dynamic nature is in the office. It is not at home in your pajamas. So all of the real estate companies that are out there today that are trying to sell no brokerage, no owner, no office, no nothing, just you, let me tell you something. When you coach 600 people a month, here's what I would tell you. You by yourself is very dangerous. You with no accountability, dangerous. You with no structure, dangerous. You left to your own devices, dangerous. That would be one of the biggest things I would tell people. Look, man, you got to get in the office with us because that's where it's at. I want to be right there beside my people making calls, man. Right there in the battle with them every day, okay? So take a second and talk about what you'll torch when you go back. When I took over as head coach, our locker room had a big divider right down the middle. And the younger players were separated from the older players. And the first thing I said when I walked in is I said, that's got to go. If you saw my office today, it's open environment. My accountant sits right beside me. My assistant sits on this side. My salespeople sit right over there. We're all in there together. There's no division. There's no offices. There's no anything. That way, when I'm sitting there listening to your phone calls, I can help you. Right? Hey, let me step in and help you. Hey, I noticed you had a tough call right there. So our model is this. Every morning at 8:30, we train for 15 to 20 minutes because my belief is training is not something you did, it's something you do. Military trains every day. World-class athletes train every day. Big-time people do not train every now and then. They train every day. So my own people are on my online academy. So when I'm not there, when I'm in Hershey, Pennsylvania, they can still be training with Coach Burt every day, right? When I'm there, we do a meeting at 8:30 in the morning. We prospect from 9 to 11 with nothing but outbound activity. We break at 11 and role play. So at 11, we break. We sit there and break down our calls. Hey, I struggled on this. I'm getting this objection. I can't handle this. We go to lunch. We come back. We do an hour of research. Hour of research is because I don't want them researching and calling at the same time. Everybody with me? So from after lunch, they research for an hour, their prospects. Then we go back to another call period. Okay? Then in the afternoon, after that, they take a break. At the end of the day, they dissect. Did we win? Did we lose? How did it go? Did it work? Did it not work? What do we need to do? Now, the reason I gave my people that structure is because they told me they wanted it. They were like, Coach, we need structure. We need accountability. We need discipline. Now, here's what I'll tell you. Most people tell you they want it and then they run from it. Yes or no? Yes. Okay, and I test this all the time. I just did a 90-day control group where I told 40 people, you give me increased time with you for 40 days and do exactly what I tell you to do, and I guarantee you, you will show an increase. Out of the 40 people that committed, 18 stuck it out for 90 days. These are people that are paying me to coach them. I said, I'll give you more time with me. I'll talk to you every week. Right? After the first week, here's what I said. But to be in my group, here's what you got to do. You got to turn in your explanation of services to me. You got to show me your selling system. You got to commit to 2 hours of prospecting every day. You got to show me your 7-touch follow-up, and you got to show me after the sale how you're going to stay in a person's life. That one thing alone, some of them said, I'm out. I said, if you're not willing to do that, how serious are you about your real estate business? You ain't serious about your business if you're not willing to do those things, right or wrong. But this shows you guys human nature. Human nature is to start with good intention, we fall off the wagon, and then we feel guilty about it. Right? We start with good intention, we fall off the wagon, then we feel guilty about it. That guilt is associated with grief. You know what we're grieving? Our lost potential. So what I try to do is, if I was a broker owner, if I was a leader or coach, I'm trying to eliminate that middle cycle where you give up. You start, you quit, you try to start again. I'm trying to give you the structure you need. So I tell my people, here's the structure. This is going to work. If you do it, it's going to work. You told me you want to make $100,000, and this is how we're going to do it, right? Because out of those 80 calls, only 16% are interested. So everybody's got something they can torch, yes or no? Now, here's the question. Do you have the guts to go back and torch it? Because my buddy, who I think he owns about $100 to a $150 million company, he went through a torch last year. 6 of his top people left. His top salesperson was personally earning $833,000, and he quit. And that cycle cost my friend, maybe he said $30 million of revenue. But guess what happened? Within 6 months, his company was stronger, better. Everybody loves working there. It's the right people. It's the right culture. And he's going to have the biggest year he's ever had in his life. He said most people don't torch because they're scared. They won't torch it because they're scared of losing. As a coach, here's what I tell you. Playing not to lose always guarantees losing. I know when a coach is scared because I live in Tennessee and I watch our coaches. And we had a coach at the University of Tennessee named Butch. What's his name? Butch? Who? I already forgot his name. Butch Davis. And Butch Davis would get up at the University of Tennessee in football games and then go into prevent mode. What does prevent mode mean? Means we're winning, but we're afraid of. What does that signal to your team? Now, here's what I would tell you. As a broker owner, when you signal to your team that you're scared, that you're losing, and you go into prevent, you're actually suppressing their drive, their prey drive to go get something, which is what he would do. He would get up, get scared, go to prevent, they'd lose, which only validated that cycle over and over and over and over. And I'm sitting as a coach, I'm going, man, don't go into prevent. Like when you get up, push, keep going. Like lay the hammer down here, okay? So what are you signaling to your team members? Because I want to signal to my team members, we're on offense all the time. That's all there is to this. We ain't playing defense. Which means I'm going to take big risks and big gambles, and we're going to go all the way. Bet on me. You follow me? Because I don't want to send that. Now, here is the belief statement I want you to start working through. And then after we do this, we're going to let you take a break. I have a theory that says this. People do business with other people that believe the same things they do. So when you're sharing your recruiting pitch, instead of leading with, we're going to give you this, 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 what I want you to learn to do is sit down in front of another person, and after you build rapport, and after you do some discovery, I want you to pivot to this statement. At our RE/MAX office, here's what we believe. There's really 3 things we believe. Okay? Bam, bam, bam. What do you believe? If you're talking to me, I believe in long obedience in the same direction. I believe there's more power together than there is individually. I believe in the potential and power of people with a good coach in their life. Follow what I'm saying? I'm going to lead with this is what I believe. And I'm going to look right in their eyeballs to see if they believe it too. Because you know when another person believes the same things you do, right or wrong. Their body language is going to tell you. They're going to be like, nope, I don't believe that. Okay? I believe, like I told you, I believe in a hard schedule. Every top real estate agent in the country that puts it right. There was a guy in Nashville the other day that was on a panel I was on in Nashville doing about $100 million, him and his wife, and I don't know how many team members they have, but they kept asking him questions like, how are you and your wife doing $100 million? It's a RE/MAX person. How are you and your wife doing $100 million? And he just kept saying, man, we do the work. We get in. We do the work every day, man. I don't know what to tell you. There's no secret here other than me and my wife do the work. We show up in the morning, we prospect like we're supposed to, we do the work, okay? That was the whole concept. So I believe in doing the work. I believe in going pro versus amateur. There's a big difference between amateur real estate agents and professional real estate agents. I believe there's a difference between a house and a home. A house is made up of sticks and bricks, and a home is made up of memories. I believe every person in the United States deserves the right to have a professional represent them when they buy, sell, build, or finance real estate. How many of y'all believe that? Okay, these are things that I would be saying. This is what I believe. Now, let me tell you why I believe that. So what I would do is let me give you some examples of why I believe this. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, then I pivot into this is what we do at our company. We do this, we do this, we do this, right? Here's how we help our agents be successful. Just like this. Like I shared with you, we're going to give you 25 years of my coaching experience. We're going to give you a selling system. We're going to give you a great follow-up. We're going to give you a service after the sale. We're going to give you attention every week. Everybody see that? These are all things we're going to give you when you come join our team. Okay? Now, let me show you how we do it a little bit different than everybody else that's out there. And you need to know there's a clear difference between how we do it at RE/MAX and how they do it. And you need to know who all your competitors are. You know, when I was speaking at Inman a few weeks ago in San Francisco, I'm sitting there listening to every major CEO talk about their real estate firm, right? And I'm sitting there asking the question, audience, okay, what makes this different than that one? What is the real differential advantage here? Like, what makes you different than this, okay? People want to know, like, hey, what's the real difference here? You don't need to let them try to figure it out. You need to tell them. You need to say, these are the three things that make us different, okay? Now, I really like this fifth statement because it's a social proof concept, a credibility indicator. You need to be able to say, these are the agents that have joined my team, and look at the success that we're having with them. Here, this agent, and cite some success stories, right? And say, okay, so these are the agents we've been working with. When I started working with this agent, they went from here to here. When I started working with this agent, they went from here to there. Let me give you some testimonials on what our agents are saying about working with us. Now, this brings up a very good point. What do your agents say to other people? Because they are your greatest recruiting tool. Yes or no? Yes. I was working with an SEC school, I can't name which one, and they were having a very hard time recruiting, and they could not get players in, and it's a very prestigious university. Like every person there would be like, oh, I would love for my kid to go to that school. And I kept going, why can't they recruit people? Why can't they recruit people? And as I began to do my discovery, I began to figure out why they couldn't recruit people. Because their own players were saying negative things to the recruits when they came on campus. So they would recruit players in. They'd say, hang out with all of our players, go to dinner, and those players would lean in and go, hey, you don't want to come here. Because why? Coaches don't care about you. There's a lot of division right now. You understand what I'm saying? Their own players were their biggest impediment. Well, I would tell you, your own agents are either going to be your greatest asset or they're going to be your greatest impediment. So what are your agents saying about you? What are they saying about your culture? And if you don't like it, it's okay, but you can change it, right? You can go to work on it, right? So the last piece is this. This is a call to action. If I could do this for you, like I've done it for all these other people, what would stop us from moving forward? What would stop us from moving forward? I'm a big believer in creating things in the future to push people to. Okay, what I mean by that is I create events. If I was running my own real estate company, I would be constantly creating events for people to come and experience. Okay, a lot of the teams I coach, they bring in recruits when I'm coaching them. And they say, this is the kind of coaching you're going to get when you join our team. And they'll be like, well, my team don't have any coaching. I'm just out there in the world, right? That's a huge asset to them. So what I do is I create something in the future. So a monthly recruiting event, monthly social event, monthly this, which gives me a reason to call out, invite people, get to know people one-to-one, spend time with them. And my wife always says, why do we have to do all these events? And here's what I say, because we don't get them all at each one. We get 30 at this one and 30 at this one, and they're different people. So I create men's events, women's events, kids' events, faith-based events. I create all kinds of events because I'm trying to open the door for people to come in. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. My wife is writing a book. My coaching program is called Monster Producer, and I've got a new book coming out called Inside the Mind of a Monster. And it's about how you think like a big-time person. And my wife is coming out with her book at the same time. It's called Living with the Monster. And her book will outsell mine 2-to-1, I'm just going to tell you. But you know what's happened since she and I have started doing events together? We do a podcast called Living with a Monster together where we talk about how do you thrive in partnership when you're married to a driven person. I almost said difficult person, I said driven person. And you would be shocked at how many new people we picked up. Because there's a different person that comes in the door. Now we're picking up a lot more women. Now, you understand? You with me? And so now we're doing events where she and I do the event together on that concept. Well, are those people recruits for us? Yes or no? Yes. Are they prospects for us? Yes or no? Yes. When I do events for kids and people that's not in my coaching program, but they bring their kids to be coached by me, are they prospects? Yes or no? Yes. So as a recruiter, I'm doing the same thing you're doing. I'm just recruiting customers. You're recruiting new agents. But if I showed you all the things I do in a month to pull people in the door, it's constant. And you know why? If I ask you, KJ, just come something, you say, I can't come this week. I say, no worries. I'm doing it again next month. Well, I live in Pennsylvania, Coach. How do I get it? No worries. I live stream it. We're filming it. We'll send it right to you. So I'm constantly creating something in the future so I can initiate a follow-up. I'm not going to have that conversation at that event. I'm going to get you to the event only to follow up with you to have this conversation right here. Does that make sense? So just take that for what it's worth, okay? Is this working for you guys okay? Y'all having fun today? Okay, y'all Hershey people. Y'all are intense, man. We got to get you some chocolate. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a short break. And when we come back, I'm going to show you something that's going to change everything for you about how to look at numbers, okay? And then we're going to get into the coaching and developing. So we're recruiting and attracting. We got some work to do there. Then we're going to get into how do we coach and develop people through a system. And then we're going to finish up with how you hold on to people and they don't to make it where they don't ever want to leave you. Fair enough? Okay, let's take a 10-minute break. Thank you for a good first session, guys. Now, remember, we're putting this into categories. We got to recruit and attract. Okay? Part of the recruiting and attracting could be the torch. Okay? Could be, hey, we got to get rid of this. Maybe it's a mindset. Maybe it's something that, you know, you say, this has got to go. Okay? Now, we're moving into the coaching and developing portion. Okay? But before we move into that, I want to show you this. This is called the law of diffusion and innovation. This basically, when I saw this, it really changed things for me because I used to go into a group and think, I'm going to give them my best and I'm going to get everybody. Then I saw this, and this opened my eyes to what was really happening. This basically shows you when you present an idea to another person or a product or service to another person, there are 2.5% of the people that are innovators, which typically means they jump on it fast. So in a sales cycle, I want you to think of it like this. You share your explanation of service, your 6-step belief framework, and the 2.5% of those people you talk to are going to say what? I'm in. How many of y'all had that happen before? Wouldn't it be nice if everybody did that? But that's not how the world works, is it? So here's the way I look at it. When you share your belief statement, a small percentage of people are going to say, sign me up. Right here. These people are early adopters, 13.5%. In my estimation, they may need to see it 1 to 3 times. Early majority, they may need to see it 7. Let's say these people need to see it 1 to 3, 3 to 7. These people are late majority, they may need to see it 7 to 15 times. Okay? Laggards, they ain't ever going to see it. So I'll also show you this because I bet your real estate company right now, this is your production numbers. 16% of your agents are producing the most. Then you've got 34% of your agents that are producing some. Then you got a few people that are almost producing. Then you got X number of people that ain't producing anything. Now, if I was coaching you, where do you think I would tell you to focus your time and energy on? Right here. Do you know how many brokers call me and they focus on that bottom 16% of their agents? Can't get them to do this. Go home and tell, you're never going to believe what they did today. Okay? Some of those championships I won with 6 players. I had 15 on the team, but only 6 of them actually played. Guess which ones got my attention? So I had a rule when I was the head coach. I give all of my attention to the top 8 players. My assistant coaches deals with anything beyond 8. If you want all of my attention, all you got to do is get in the top 8. And I'm going to show you how to get in the top 8. Does that make sense? Because I couldn't coach everybody right? So all of my time and attention went on those top players. Guess what happened? Those top players won games. The other players are still on the team. They still got championship rings. They just didn't get to play. Okay? They got to practice, but they didn't play. Now, so I look at a real estate company. When I go into a company, because sometimes I used to go in and the company would hire me to coach all the agents. This is an old model I used to use. I'd go in there, I'd coach all the agents, and the broker would come to me and say what? Well, it ain't working. Why ain't it working? Because not all of the agents that's in the coaching program are doing anything. I said, that's not how this is going to work. There's going to be about 16% of them that are going to get a whole lot better. Those agents are going to pay for all of my coaching fees and then some. But you're focused on the bottom 16%. We can bring, it don't matter who we're bringing in, they're not going to get any better, right? So when you're recruiting, this tells me two things. From a sales perspective, if I was looking at 30 people, 4.8 of those people are on this side over here. This represents 4.8 out of every 30. This is 10. This is 10. If I'm looking at 350 people, this is 52.8. So the first problem I see with a lot of people is we don't have enough volume, number one. We're not talking to enough people. We're not having enough conversations because look at how many we have to go through. When I showed you that picture of me speaking at 10X in Vegas, that was, I think, roughly 9,500 to 10,000 people. We signed up 167 people in an hour. So most customers we'd ever signed up in a single concentrated period. But look at how many people I had to get in front of to sign up 167. Does that make sense? Now, out of those 167, listen, there was only probably 16% of those that were actual real players. So when I saw this changed everything for me. It said, hey, I got to talk to more people. I got to have a better expectation of the number of people I go through. Some will, some won't. So what? We're just going to keep on moving, right? There is no such thing as rejection. So in today's world, I may go through 2,000 or 3,000 people a week to find the right people. Look at how, and I will tell you, it's still not enough people. So we all have to be working more people, okay? That's what this should tell you. And it should tell you if you got a team, 16% are going to be your top producers for the most part. They're going to produce most of the revenue. They're going to carry, they're going to do a lot of the work. They're going to do a lot of the volume. Now, those people that are early majority, they can be coached and get better. Those in the middle can get better. What does better look like? Maybe one more deal a month, 12 more deals a year. With some coaching, that group can get better. When you get over on the other end of the spectrum, no amount of coaching is going to help those folks. Okay, what do you need to do with those folks? Yeah, free them up to chase their real passion. That's what I tell people. We don't fire anybody. We just free you up to go do what you're supposed to be doing because it clearly ain't this, right? Now, I want to show you a concept here. When you're building a team, think of it like this. When I share with you what I believe, and you and I believe the same things, we're in alignment. Because we believe the same things, guess what I give you? My best effort. Because you and I believe the same things. What if you and I don't believe the same things? What do I give you? Here's a commitment continuum. I want you to look at the levels of commitment. At the lowest level of commitment is rebel or quit. Could I still show up every day in the office but have quit? Yes or no? Absolutely. I'm here physically, but I'm not here with my mind, my heart, my spirit. I'm here. There was a book written about this. I hate that I didn't write this book. It's called I Quit, but I Forgot to Tell Anybody. These are people that show up, dress up, paint up, spray up, pretty up, show up, but they ain't at work. They're there physically, but they're not there with the most important parts. So I could actually quit on you, but still show up. The second level is malicious obedience. If you have agents in your office doing this one, what they're really doing is trying to recruit other people to leave you and go somewhere else. Or they're undermining you. Malicious obedience is I say one thing to your face and another thing behind your back. Okay? And if you have a person in your office that's doing this, no matter what level of production they are, how much is it costing you? Now, I get it. I get it. Listen, I let a guy go last year. It cost me $1 million. $1 million. $1 million of revenue that he brought to the table. And I said, I can't do it, man. I cannot have this guy on my team. I just can't do it. I can't do it for my sake. I can't do it for my people's sake. Now I could sit there and say, that cost me $1 million. And in my business, that could be a lot of money to me personally. But what's it worth to me? Does that make sense? What's the cost opportunity there? And I haven't lost a day, night of sleep over that. So it was the right thing to do. Okay? So for you, these are the tough decisions you got to make to say, this is what's in the best interest of my legacy of what I'm trying to build here. Okay? I know it's tough. Now, most people operate, and I see most real estate companies operating at that third level, which is willing compliance. And willing compliance is I come to the meetings, I show up because I feel what? Obligated to. I'm just obligated to. I don't want to hurt your feelings. That's not a championship team. Like if we were in the sporting world, let's say basketball, for example, that's about a 16 to 18 game winner right there. When you see championship teams play, what do you notice? They did a study in the NBA, by the way. The teams that touched each other the most, high five, right, won the most. Now, I don't expect you to go around the office, patting people on the butt, but my point is, like contact, like great job. You know what I'm saying? Contact. You follow what I'm saying? Those teams won the most. You know why? They had the best chemistry. They believed in each other the most. I have walked in some real estate offices, and I didn't know if I was at the real estate office or a funeral home. Y'all been there, yes or no? So when you come to my place, I want music playing. I want the energy high. I got everything in the whole place on. I want energy. That's what I want. I want energy. We call our place the Greatness Factory. We don't call it the Mediocre Factory, the Lazy Factory, the Complacent Factory. We call it the Greatness Factory. And when somebody's being lazy, I walk them over this big sign and I say, what does the sign say? It says greatness. It don't say mediocre. Okay? This is the Greatness Factory. We're manufacturing greatness. So look at the highest level of commitment, heartfelt commitment. You and I on the same page. We believe the same things. We want the same things. We're going somewhere, okay? You can see it in sports a lot because there's a lot of energy, okay? Now, when you're thinking about this and you're coaching people, okay, because now we're coaching the agents. What are we going to coach the agents on? We first have to help the agents understand the difference between high-value activity and low-value activity. High-value activity is activity toward the dominant focus. It is money-generating activity, which is why I've set that 2 hours a day, and I said this is high-value activity. We do not want any low-value activity during this cycle. Nothing but high-value activity, which means we're working our selling system. We're coming in and we got a hit list and we got a farm club and we got a top 25, okay, and we're working this. The highest value of your time as a broker is spending time recruiting or coaching your current agents to get to a higher level of production, okay, and building retention. These are the highest value of your time, okay? Now, when you're thinking about this, one of the first things I noticed when I started coaching real estate agents is that they do not have a selling system. If the purpose of any business is to generate a customer, they don't know how to go out and generate leads and customers, okay? So here's what I say. I'm going to give you a selling system. I'm going to show you every day the activity you need to take to drive up the probability of making a sale. So basically what I said is this. We're going to come up with your 4 best strategies to help you drive leads. Okay? We're going to call those your primary strategies. Every day during your call times, this is what I want you doing. Okay? We're also going to help you develop secondary strategies. Secondary strategies could be social media, database blast, social events, client appreciation. These are strategies that you need to be comboing with your primary strategies because most people don't have enough strategies, right or wrong? And so what are they doing? They do 2 or 3 things. They don't have enough leads. They don't have enough leads. What's the percentage of agents that quit in the first 2 years? It's 83%. 83% of agents quit within the first 2 years of their real estate career. Why? They don't have any success. Why do they not have any success? They don't have enough strategies. They don't have what? They don't have friends?
Ran out of their friends.
Yeah, okay, good. You said they don't have any friends.
No, they ran out of them.
Oh, they ran out of their friends. That's exactly right. So, and what Mama told you early in life, don't talk to strangers, she lied about this one, okay? Because the only way to make a good living in today's world is do what? Talk to a bunch of strangers, okay? So primary and secondary. So think about this. You sit down with your agents and you say, let's develop your best 4 primary strategies. Because my best strategies and yours may be different. You may be more of an introverted person, a shy person, and you don't like doing events. I like batching people together and doing big events because I can reach more people. I don't like doing one-to-one things because it's not economical. You follow where I'm going here? So if you don't like being the center of attention or at parties or whatever, and then you don't need to be doing the showcase event. You need to be doing a different strategy. Okay? So what strategies do we teach? Number one, I teach that money changes hands when problems are solved. The bigger the problem, the more money people pay to solve it. Everybody see that? Do you think the best agents are the best problem solvers? Yeah. So I teach the agent, look, all we're doing is going out into the marketplace looking for problems. And everybody's got problems. They don't like where their kids go to school. They don't like the size of their master bedroom. They don't like how big they're, right? They got a problem. So this is the system that we coach the agents on. Okay, number one, how they explain their services. We call this the explanation of service, EOS. Here's what we believe. Here's why we believe it. Here's what we do. Here's how we do it different. Here's everybody we're doing it for. Number two, the selling system, which is what I'm showing you now. Number three, how to follow up. I believe 7 to 15 touches 80% of the time. Plus, how to overcome objection. So we teach 5 steps to overcome an objection. Now, the reason this is critical is because they're going to get a lot of objection, and when they're not properly equipped, that's going to feel like rejection, and when they get rejection, they're going to want to quit or contract. Okay, I know. We just hired a young guy in his 20s. He worked with me for 2 weeks, and he quit. You know what he said? I didn't make a sale in the first 2 weeks. And what did I say? You're not going to make a sale in the first 2 weeks. I told you you're not going to make a sale in the first 2 weeks. You don't even know the selling system. You don't know how we explain our services yet. But you can't be great if you're going to quit in 2 weeks. Does that make sense? Well, this is how people think today. It's the cotton candy generation. Yeah, absolutely. And what I mean by cotton candy is it tastes good for a second and then it goes away. Right? If it don't happen immediately, they want to quit. And I'm like, look, it ain't going to work. Listen, it ain't going to work in 2 weeks. Okay? You're going to have to buckle down with me here. See this through to its conclusion. But I would tell you, if you got people that are part-time agents or agents that are just getting started or they're stay-at-home moms or they're, you have got to set proper expectation with these people. Like this is not going to be, like real estate is not cashing checks and driving Cadillacs. Like it ain't going to be easy. Okay? Like people think it is, right? Like you're going to have to work. You're going to have to do the work. Okay? So just keep that in mind. But here's the deal. I'm going to coach you on how to sell. Right? Extraction of referrals. How many deals should every referral be worth? 5.7. Here's the deal. So 98% of agents never call a customer back once they put them in a home. That's a huge problem. That's a huge problem. I talk to my real estate agent every single day. And you're like, is that too much? No, because I'm working on real estate deals every week. I want to talk to him. You know what I said? Stay close to me. Stay close to me, man. You never know what's going to happen. Stay close to me. I may find something up there in Hershey, Pennsylvania I like. Stay close to me. Okay? And the final piece is how to become a person of interest. The top agents I'm coaching, they are becoming people of interest, which means they're attracting people. So you say, what do some of our top agents do? They're writing their own books. They got their own podcast. They got their own YouTube channels. They're doing their own events. My top agents are people of interest, which means people are coming to them. They're attracting business to them. Okay? Now, the reason this is critical, guys, is because if you come and work with me and I was your broker, I'm going to take you right through this cycle. We're going to start with how you explain your services. Let me tell you why. If I put you on the phone and you don't have anything to say, your confidence is going to be low. You're going to have creative avoidance, which means you're going to find every way in the world not to make outbound calls. You're not going to follow up like you're supposed to. You don't have anything valuable to say. You're going to fail. Okay? So I start and I teach them in a cycle. So all the real estate agents in my program, we go right through this cycle right here. And we just pound on the same thing over and over and over. Everybody see that? And like I said, it ain't sexy. It's just successful. It's going to seem like, man, this is so redundant. Man, it's so redundant. Success is redundant. You do the same things every day, okay? Now, this is what I show the agents. And I say, where are you currently breaking down? Number one, you can't create enough opportunity. Those are leads. You do a poor job of rapport building, doing your discovery, sharing your explanation of service. Okay, right here, number three, if they're interested or get objection, Do you have a great 7-touch system in place, a follow-up? And once you get a new client, how good are you at service after the sale? Most agents break down. Where do you think most agents break down?
7 touches.
Yeah, I think they break down. A lot of them can't create enough opportunity. Why can't they create enough opportunity? That's right. They don't have a selling system and they're not committed to prospecting 2 hours a day. So this opportunity is not magically going to happen. It's, you got to put the work in. So what I do is I come in and I show them real simple terms. And I say, every day, we need you to work this system. I want 3 to 5 people on your hit list. Think of the word hit list like help list. These are people we can help with our services. And I want you to have 3 to 5 every single day. I want you to have them before you show up at the office. So you got to sit down at night, map this out. And we create a planner to help them. Then the farm club are all the people who have indicated interest in our services, but we haven't closed them. So we're going to be going 7 touches with those people. And I wrote a book on that called $1 Million Follow-Up, because most people do a poor job of following up. You need a series of touches that are both linear and nonlinear, meaning jabs and hooks. And so a lot of people follow up like this. Do you have any questions? Can I answer anything else for you? Just touching base, just checking in. I like to use the example of had a real estate agent call me once and say, hey, I woke up thinking about you this morning. And I said, that's creepy, man. Don't tell people you woke up thinking about me, okay? But most agents have never been taught what? How to follow up. So here's what I say. Every time you call with something valuable to say. Hey, there's 2 strategies we're going to use to get this deal done. Hey, let me show an example of somebody I did this for last week. Hey, we just helped a first-time home buyer like you 3 weeks ago. Let me show you how we're going to do this. Never call up without something valuable to say. Okay? So we've got to teach them how to follow up, because if not, they'll say, I'm just checking in. You have any questions? Can we get started? Would you like to get moving? Okay? For you, it's a new agent. So what are you doing for onboarding for the new agents? I have an online academy. I'm going to share it with you at the end. If you are training lots of agents and you feel like they need to have an EOS selling system follow-up, I tell my brokers, just let me train them for you. You don't have to. Like I was talking to a broker last week. She's like, well, we got 4 this week and 4 next week and 4 the week. She's like, it's just exhausting. And I'm like, let me help you train them. Just put them on my online academy. They can get training every single day they wake up, like my team does. They train on there 3 to 5 segments a day, every day. And guess what? The online person that's on there, guess who it is? It's me. It's no different than being live or being interactive. It's the same person. I'm still coaching you. So if you're onboarding a lot of agents, they need to learn this stuff quick, don't you think? And that could be you teach them, or it can be somebody else that you feel is qualified to teach them. Top 25 are my 25 biggest relationships. Now, let me show you something interesting. I've got all of my agents right now in a campaign to generate 125 referrals in the last 90 days of the year. The way I'm teaching the agents to generate 125 referrals is they're going to their 25 best clients, friends, advocates, and they're actually letting them know that they got a huge campaign going on. We're trying to generate 125 new deals in the last 90 days, and I can't do it without you. So they don't say, do you know anybody buying or selling real estate? That's a creepy question. Okay? What they say is, there's probably 5 people in your network that you know that I don't know. Can you introduce me to those people? Okay? And sure enough, I did this. The very first week, I generated 60 referrals in the first week. So I give them campaigns. Hey, the next 90 days, we're getting 125 referrals. And every week, we talk about it. How are you doing it, right? Does that make sense? You got to give them a target. You got to give them a deadline. And you got to say, this is a big campaign. Let me show you how to do it. So we're doing it through that top 25. Showcase our events. And if your agents are not hosting events, they need to be. They need to be hosting education events. They need to be hosting entertainment events. They need to be hosting edutainment events. And people ask me, what's edutainment? Just add wine. They'll figure it out. So where they have a little bit of education and a little bit of fun, right? So you say, what can we do? Every year, I partner with a big mortgage person, a big title person, a big insurance person, and we host a big live customer appreciation event with the major country music artists, because we live in Nashville. So let me tell you what that gives us the ability to do. Call all of our best clients and say, hey, we're hosting a big event. This big country music singer's going to be there. You're going to be able to get right up close to them. There's only going to be 300 or 400 people there. It's going to be incredible. That gives me the chance to call out. Everybody understand? So constantly create things in the future that give you a reason to call out. Customer appreciation events, recruiting events, social events. That's what the showcase is. Okay? And you need to be doing them and your agents need to be doing them. Okay? Now, what I'm showing the agents, guys, is I'm showing them if you'll come in and take this calculated activity and you'll do this activity every day for at least 2 hours. And I'm going to give you the categories. Hit list means what? New money. Could I get new money from my current clients? Yes or no? Yes. Sometimes my hit list is calling my current clients, asking who else do I need to be helping? Who else do I need to be helping? If I've helped you get to a better place, who else do I need to be helping? And they say, oh, there's 3 or 4 people you need to be helping. Now, my concept is to create something in the future to invite those people to. So I don't call you and try to sell you anything. I just say, Joseph, hey, we got something coming up in a few weeks where I'm going to be doing this. I'd love for you to come. Well, I can't come next week, Coach, because I'm busy. It's okay. I'm doing it again next month. You can come next month. Okay? Well, we're doing something for husbands and wives, too, called Living with the Monster. Hey, we're doing this event at my house with this famous doctor. Come out and see this. So I'm constantly just creating something in the future. Now, how many of you think that just a little bit of structure like this would help your agents be a lot more productive? This is just a selling system. I don't think a selling system is buying leads. Here's what's funny. They buy leads and then they don't call them. Here's what they say. Those are crappy leads. I'm like, well, why did you buy them then? Right? But if we're going to buy them, guess what we're going to do? We're going to call them. Because of every 30, there's going to be 4.8 of them that are not crappy leads. But you got to get your expectation correct. So we spend a lot of time with our agents getting them to work a relationship selling system. Blocking and tackling every day. We're making outbound phone calls. We're talking to people. Okay? Now, first, when I say 2 hours a day, what do you think they say? Need you give me 2 hours a day? What do they say? Gosh, I'm so busy. I'm like, you're doing 1 deal a month, man. You ain't that busy. Let's be honest here. Okay? You ain't busy doing 1 deal a month. Okay? You're not busy. Your priorities are all screwed up. The purpose of any business is to create a customer. So if I could get you 1 more deal a month, would it be valuable for you? Yes or no? Okay, here's what I need you to do. So I really work hard to sell them on this system, okay? And then we use secondary strategies like database, social media, person of interest strategy, strategic partnership. So a lot of my agents are doing their own podcast. They're doing monthly events. They're doing their own shows. They're doing their own. I'm trying to get their status higher in the market. Because I believe if their status is higher, that status sells. They'll be attracting business versus chasing it, okay? These are advanced strategies, but that's the thing, okay? So here's kind of my formula for the week, for the day. I want 3 to 5 people on your hit list every day. We use a planner that I created called Little Monster Producer Planner. So this guides them everything through what they're supposed to do. It shows them all the categories, gives them a place for their top 25, place to map out their weeks, then it goes into their days. So basically, if you were on my team, I could say, show me your planner. Who's on your hit list today? Well, I got 3 people on my hit list. Who's in your farm club today? Well, I got these 3 people in my farm club. Who's your top 25 touches today? I got these 2. Okay, who's the new customers you signed up this month? Well, we signed up these 3, and I can hold you accountable to this system. Everybody see that? Because people say, well, we need more accountability. We need more accountability. And I say, accountable to what? What are we holding them accountable to? It needs to be their daily activity. So this is just one way that I hold people accountable on my sales team is I say, pull out your playbook and show me what you got. And we teach 7 to 15 minutes per night of planning. 7 to 15 minutes a night before your next day. How many agents do you think come in to a day with a plan already mapped out? Less than 2%? Would you agree? Yes or no? Now, is that you notice I said cheetah up there. It didn't say a turtle. It says a cheetah. What does cheetahs do? Attack, attack, attack. So I want offense, offense, offense every day, all right? All right, let's finish up with this. And this may be the most important thing that I show you. From 22 to 25, I motivated through fear. That's how a lot of coaches motivate people. Would you agree? You don't do this, there's a direct consequence for it. Here's the problem. I wasn't winning championships during that period. So much friction between me and the players, constant, just me versus them. From 18 to 25, I studied Dr. Stephen Covey. 7 years of studying one man. And one of his greatest philosophies that he gave the world was called the whole person theory. And the whole person theory says that every person is made up of these 4 parts: a body, a mind, a heart, and a spirit. Each of these parts produce 4 different needs. The body's need is to live. The mind's need is to learn. The heart's need is to love and be loved. And the spirit's need is to connect to higher power, to leave a legacy, to contribute. Now, when I began to study this, at first I didn't understand it. Like, how could I apply it to my team? Because from 22 to 25, I focused on one part of their nature. Which part was that? The body. So if you don't perform, what do? Work you harder, push you harder, run you more, discipline you more. But here was what I was missing. I wasn't connecting with their heart. I wasn't connecting with their spirit. I wasn't connecting with the whole person. Therefore, they wouldn't give me their whole self. They gave me one part, the body. So around 25, as I'm starting to mature, I'm going, okay, now I understand this theory. How do I tap into all 4 parts of their nature? How do I constantly teach them skill? So think of it like this. For the body, teach me skill. For the mind, give me new knowledge, challenge me, keep it fresh, constantly stretch me, engage me. For the heart, bring me passion, show me that you care as a person, validate my contribution, right? So for the heart, feed me emotionally, okay? For the spirit, help me to understand the vision of what we're doing. Help me to tap into the deepest part of my nature. And as we begin to do this, I begin to go from a coach that they didn't want to play for to a coach they love playing for. Does that make sense? And the other teachers of the school would come down to me and say, man, what are you doing with those kids? Because they are just so on fire to play for you. And I said, I finally figured out how to tap into the whole person. Now, how does this equate to your agents? Do you think this supersedes money? Yes. 2 or 3 years ago, I was negotiating a big contract with a mortgage company, probably about a $6 billion mortgage company, and I had been their coach since 2008 through the recession. And in 2017, at the first of the year, or 2015, one of those years, there was a dip, and they were contracting. And the CEO who hired me in 2008, right after I retired from athletic coaching, he says, we believe you're a 6-figure person to us. That's how much value you create for us. He said, but we can't pay you 6 figures. And then he looked at me and he said this, maybe one of the best lines I've ever heard. He said, Coach, if it's all about the money to you, then I think you need to go somewhere where they'll pay you 6 figures. But if it's about more than the money to you, if it's about what you and I have done together over the last 6 or 7 years, if it's about taking a mortgage company from $300,000 to $5 billion, if it's about the relationship that you and I built, then we want you here. And we'll figure out a way to get you the money. Now, how do you say no to that? What do you think I could say? Nope, just about the money, man. I mean, I had chills just when he said it. I mean, just me telling you the story, I got chills. Because what he was tapping into was my heart and my spirit. See, the spirit longs to be part of something bigger. And that's what he was tapping into. I was like, here's what I said. It don't matter about the money. We'll figure out a way to get the money right. I want to work with you. I want to have a relationship with you. Because that's what matters to me. Everybody see that? He understood how to tap into other people's part of their nature. So how do you do this? I had a rule when I was a coach that every week I would take a different player on a walk around the football stadium. And we would talk about life, success. And here's what those talks consisted of. How can I be a better coach for you? What's going on with your family? How's your mom and dad doing? On Sunday mornings, I would let the players sign up and I would go to different churches with the players. I would visit their church, have lunch with their family. You see what kind of bonds we were building? A whole lot more than just winning basketball games. Does that make sense? If they were sick, I'd take them down to the local Sonic. We'd have ice cream. You can get a kid to tell you anything when you feed them ice cream. But do you know what kind of bonds I built with those players? And what I began to see those players do is, man, they would fight for me. They would get out there and work as hard as they could for me. They would go the distance for me. You know why? Because they knew I cared about them as a person. They knew I wanted to get them to a higher frequency. And that's one thing we're missing in today's world, guys. We've gotten so transactional We've gotten so transactional. We want people to run through the wall, but we've gotten so transactional that it ain't there, man. The meat and potatoes is not there. So if you're trying to keep people on your team, don't believe it's all about how much commission they get or how much better. Some people are going to leave because of those reasons. But it really comes down to me and you going into battle together every day. And the reason you came here to my company is because I told you I was going to get you to another level, and that's what we're going to do. Some will, some won't. So what? We're going to keep on moving, right? But my point is, this changes the game. This changes the game when you truly understand this, because now you're tapping into their deepest part of the body is the money piece. If it's just the body, it's about money. That's all it's about. It's about nothing else but money. And if you say, look, when you come here, we're going to grow the whole person, which is why in our coaching program, what do? We do faith-based events. We do couples events. We do kids. And we do the entrepreneur. Why would we do that? Because I believe in going the whole person. And when we grow the whole person, what good is it to have knowledge with no desire? What good is it to have desire with no knowledge? What good is it to have skills with no confidence? Or confidence with no skill? There's a definition for that one, right? It's called arrogance. It's when your self-appraisal is greater than your market value. Okay? A whole person is operating on every single cylinder. And at the end of the day, this is what you're trying to tap into, guys. This is where the real money is. This is what the big time people do. Fair enough? All right, I want to close with this and show you what we're doing. There's a lot more we could get into, but 2 hours is all we got today. This is the online academy. Basically, what I've done is I've taken all of my coaching and I've put it into an online virtual training academy so a person could literally get trained by me every day. It is uploaded and updated weekly. It's one of the only online academies where it is updated every single week. There's not stuff in there from 1972 or 1980. It's fresh, it's relevant. As I teach content, we upload it. Okay? And so all of my selling systems, all of my operations, it's got faith-based, I've got Christian devotionals in there, I've got confidence, I've got stuff for families, kids. It is all of my life's work and ability for a person to be coached by me every day. So what we've been doing on the RE/MAX tour is we've been offering it to all the RE/MAX people I've spoken to at a one-time payment of $697, and that gives it to you forever. When I say forever, forever. Forever and ever and ever, okay? So a lot of brokers have purchased this for their office, and when you get new agents, you can go in there and let them log on like it's a library and let them just train. Because a lot of agents are like, what do I do? Where do I go? What do I say? How do I do it? So a lot of brokers have just purchased it for their office and said, this is it. And some brokers are doing it where they're bringing their people in each week. And when you pop up, it's me. I pop up and I start coaching you. So a lot of people do it weekly as a group. Maybe they take their new agents and they do it as a group and they work through explanation of service, selling system, follow-up, how to extract referrals. So the link to purchase that is coachburt.com/lifetime. coachburt.com/lifetime. And if you're here and you want to purchase it today, my guys will be able to help you. They've got iPads out there. They'll be able to just purchase it. The minute you purchase it, it's yours. So you'll get a link, you'll get a login, and you go get it, okay? So hopefully this will help you. Guys, I want to thank you. I was in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho yesterday, which is one of the most beautiful places in the world, and doing a retreat. And I woke up this morning because we've been on the road for 5 or 6 days, and I told my wife, I said, boy, got to go up to Hershey, Pennsylvania today, and I just need a little bit of encouragement this morning. And my wife said, well, watch one of your videos. I'm like, thank you, sweetheart. That's why I married you right there. But I don't come to Hershey much, but I will say this. I have really, really enjoyed being out on the road for RE/MAX, and it's been a great experience. You're working for a great company. You're working for a great company that has a long, long obedience in the same direction. And no matter how many startups or upstarts or new people or bright and shiny things that come along, the one thing you got to sell is when you get me, when you get us, you get me. And with that comes a whole lot. You got to believe it. The first sale you got to make every day is to your own self. So thank you for today, guys. God bless you. Thank you.